Please like, subscribe, and comment. All right, so are you ready to dive into one of the most baffling events in UFO history?
I'm ready.
Okay, cool. Let's talk Phoenix Lights. We're talking March 13th, 1997.
Oh, yeah.
Arizona. Imagine thousands of people just looking up and seeing something unbelievable.
It's wild.
And here's the thing. It wasn't just one quick sighting, okay? This event unfolded in two distinct phases, each more puzzling than the last.
Yeah, you're right. The sheer scale of this event is what makes it so compelling. It's, when you think about it, we had everyday folks, seasoned pilots,
Right.
even military personnel, all reporting the same strange phenomena. So this wasn't just, a handful of people seeing things. This was a mass sighting across a huge area.
Yeah, and it's like everyone's seeing the same thing.
Sure.
So let's unpack this. Phase 1, the V-shaped craft. So picture this, a gigantic silent, object. Some witnesses said it was the size of a shopping mall, just drifting across the Arizona sky.
Wow.
Some even said it blocked out the stars. Okay, if I saw that, I'd probably drop my phone in shock. What do we actually know about what people saw?
Well, eyewitness accounts describe a massive, dark, V-shaped craft moving silently across the sky. And the silence is a key detail here. No engine noise.
Right.
No whooshing sounds, just eerie quiet. As this massive thing just glides overhead, it's almost as if it was just observing, taking it all in.
Definitely gives you chills,
Yeah.
just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Now, I know there are theories out there, some more grounded than others.
Right.
What are some of the explanations people have put forward for this V-shaped craft?
Well, of course, there's the idea of a military aircraft formation, maybe some kind of top-secret training exercise. But as someone who's researched this extensively, there are issues with that theory.
Yeah?
A lot of the witnesses, including experienced pilots, say that what they saw moved unlike any known aircraft. And the sheer size of the object, as reported by many, just doesn't match up with any known military aircraft.
Yeah, that's a good point. The size and silence of the craft seem to rule out a lot of conventional explanations. So what else is on the table? Are there any other theories that might explain this, bizarre V-shaped object?
Some have suggested it could be an optical illusion, like a trick of the light or atmospheric conditions. But again, the sheer number of witnesses and the consistency of their accounts make that a tough sell.
Yeah.
It would have to be an illusion experienced by thousands of people simultaneously, which seems highly unlikely.
Right, okay, so we have this massive silent V-shaped craft with no clear explanation.
Yeah.
And as if that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Okay, the story doesn't end there. Later that same night, a whole different kind of sighting took place.
Yeah.
Tell me about phase 2, the stationary lights.
Right. Hours after the V-shaped craft disappeared, people across Phoenix started reporting a series of bright amber lights hovering in the sky. And these lights weren't just fleeting glimpses either. They remained visible for an extended period, stationary and unchanging, which has led to a wealth of photographic and video evidence.
That's interesting. We actually have tangible evidence of these lights, which makes this case even more intriguing. So what's the official explanation for these hovering lights? Have authorities ever addressed what people saw?
The official explanation is that these lights were military flares dropped during a training exercise at a nearby Air Force base. On the surface, that might seem plausible, but as you dig deeper, you'll find some pretty significant inconsistencies.
Okay, let's talk about those inconsistencies. What doesn't quite add up about the flares explanation? Because flares behave a certain way, right? They don't typically just hover in the sky.
Exactly. Flares are designed to fall, to drift with the wind, to flicker as they burn. But the lights over Phoenix were described as being stationary, unwavering, and they remained visible for far longer than typical flares would. And these inconsistencies, combined with the government's initial denials and then later sort of vague explanations, fueled a lot of skepticism.
I can see why people would be skeptical. It definitely raises some red flags when the official explanation doesn't seem to match up with what people actually observed.
Yeah.
So we have two distinct, unexplained aerial events, thousands of witnesses, and an official explanation that leaves a lot of questions unanswered. Where do we go from here? What other avenues can we explore to try and make sense of this?
Well, when the official story just doesn't satisfy, that's when people start looking for answers elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
This is where things get interesting.
Okay.
That lack of a convincing explanation coupled with the government's response,
Yeah.
it really created the perfect breeding ground for all those speculations.
Okay, conspiracy theories. This is where I perk up.
Yeah.
Let's dive into this.
Yeah.
What were some of the popular explanations floating around? Did anyone suggest aliens were behind the wheel? of that giant V-shaped craft?
Well, extraterrestrial theories were definitely in the mix. But there are a few other compelling ideas, too. One that gained a lot of traction was this concept of advanced secret military technology. So think about it. What if that V-shaped craft wasn't alien,
Yeah.
but rather like a prototype for some next-level stealth bomber or something even more advanced, something they were testing out under the cloak of secrecy in the Arizona desert?
Oh, I could see that. If you're developing tech that's light years ahead of anything else out there, you're probably not going to announce it to the world, especially if it looks like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how far ahead like certain agencies might be in terms of technology.
Exactly. And then you've got the whole black budget concept, which is basically this idea that there are these secret government programs that are funded with money that's hidden from public view. So the theory goes, maybe the Phoenix Lights were connected to one of these black budget projects.
Wow.
Something so far beyond conventional technology that it would just appear completely alien to anyone who saw it.
Now that's fascinating. A black budget project. Something so advanced it would seem otherworldly to us. I mean, it makes you think about what might be happening behind closed doors, right?
Yeah.
But before we get too deep into conspiracy land, let's bring in another player here, NORAD,
Right.
the North American Aerospace Defense Command.
Yeah.
They're the folks tasked with monitoring our airspace for anything unusual, right?
Exactly.
What did they have to say about the Phoenix Lights?
Well, this is where things get even more curious.
Okay.
You'd think that an event of this magnitude, with multiple unidentified objects flying over a major metropolitan area, would have set off all kinds of alarms at NORAD.
Right.
But officially, they claim to have no record of tracking anything unusual in the skies over Arizona that night.
Hold on. Are you saying that NORAD, with all their radar and sophisticated tracking systems, missed an event witnessed by thousands of people on the ground?
It's pretty hard to believe, right?
That seems, yeah.
And their lack of explanation or any detailed response beyond, the flare's excuse for the later lights just adds to the whole intrigue.
Yeah.
Fuels that idea that something is being hidden, that there's information the public isn't privy to.
Right. It's like a puzzle with some crucial pieces missing. So we've got the mysterious V-shaped craft, the unexplained stationary lights, the silence from NORAD, whispers of secret projects and black budgets. But there's one more player in this saga that we need to talk about. Then, Governor Fife Symington.
Right.
His story kind of adds another layer of complexity to this whole event.
Ah, yes, Governor Symington.
Yeah.
Initially, he was quite dismissive of the whole Phoenix Lights phenomenon. In fact, he even held a press conference where he kind of poked fun at it, even bringing out an aide dressed up in an alien costume.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it seemed like he was trying to downplay the whole thing, maybe even make it seem like a joke.
I can see how that would backfire. Mocking something that thousands of your constituents clearly saw probably wasn't the best move politically. So what happened? Did he ever address the events seriously?
He did, and this is where things took a very surprising turn. Years later, Symington admitted that he had, in fact, seen the lights himself that night. And more importantly, he stated that he believed they were not of this world.
Wait, hold on. So the governor, who initially ridiculed the whole thing, later comes out and says he saw something unexplainable, something he believes was of extraterrestrial origin. That's quite a change of heart. What do you make of his sudden shift in perspective?
It's definitely a curious development. Some people believe he was finally feeling, the weight of his conscience and decided to reveal what he knew. Others speculate that maybe he was trying to boost his public image, or perhaps he had become genuinely interested in the UFO phenomenon over the years. Whatever the reason, his admission lent a lot of credibility to the idea that the Phoenix Lights were more than just a simple case of mistaken identity.
It adds another layer of mystery to an already enigmatic event. So we have eyewitness accounts, lack of clarity from official sources, and a former governor who changes his stance on the matter. It's no wonder this has become such a legendary case in UFO history. But let's shift gears a bit. We've talked about the speculation, the mystery. What about attempts to explain the lights from a more scientific perspective? Have there been any credible scientific explanations put forward?
There have been, although none that fully satisfy everyone.
Okay.
For the V-shaped craft, some scientists suggest that it might have been a squadron of military jets flying in a specific formation. Perhaps the angle of the sun and the way their lights interacted with the atmosphere created this illusion of a single massive object.
I've heard about that theory. Sounds plausible on the surface, but what about the lack of engine noise that so many witnesses reported?
Right.
And how do you explain the sheer size of the object? Those seem like pretty big hurdles for the military jets theory to overcome.
Yeah, you're right. Those are important considerations. And then there's the issue of the stationary lights. Some scientists have proposed that atmospheric conditions, like temperature inversions or unusual cloud formations, could have distorted the appearance of ordinary lights, making them seem larger and more mysterious than they really were.
That's interesting. But again, how do you explain the behavior of the lights? Flares don't just hang in the sky like that. Do these scientific explanations truly hold water, or are they reaching for straws?
Well, that's a question that continues to be debated.
Yeah.
While some aspects of the lights might be explained by known phenomena, there are still so many unanswered questions.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps this case so intriguing.
Right.
It challenges us to consider what we know, what we don't know,
Right.
and what might be possible.
Speaking of possibilities, this event has had a significant impact on our culture. It's not just a local Arizona story anymore, is it? It's become something much bigger, something that resonates with people all over the world. Tell me, how have the Phoenix Lights influenced our understanding of UFOs?
Yeah.
And maybe even our expectations of extraterrestrial contact?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The Phoenix Lights have, transcended a simple UFO sighting. They've become a cultural touchstone, a symbol of our fascination with the unknown. And it's not just another blurry photo or shaky video. It's the scale of the event, the sheer number of witnesses, the lack of a definitive answer that keeps captivating us.
It's like this event tapped into some kind of primal curiosity, a deep-seated desire to understand our place in the universe.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, what if we aren't alone?
Right.
What if there are things out there that we can't even, begin to comprehend?
Exactly. And that's why the Phoenix Lights have resonated so deeply in popular culture. Think about it. How many other UFO sightings can you name that have inspired documentaries, books, even Hollywood movies?
Yeah, it's true. So let's talk about that cultural impact. How have the Phoenix Lights been portrayed in the media? How has this event shaped our collective understanding of UFOs and maybe even our expectations of extraterrestrial contact?
Well, right after the event, there was a media frenzy. Newspapers, TV shows, everyone was talking about the Phoenix Lights. And that widespread attention played a huge role in solidifying this event in the public consciousness, transforming it from a local Arizona story into a global phenomenon.
Yeah, I remember seeing those grainy images of the lights on the news as a kid. It definitely sparked my imagination.
Right.
And then there were all the documentaries, some taking a more skeptical approach.
Yeah.
Others presenting compelling evidence that, maybe we're not alone in the universe.
And those documentaries were crucial in shaping the narrative, They fueled public curiosity. They inspired countless people to look up at the sky with a renewed sense of wonder and possibility.
Yeah. And let's not forget Hollywood's take on the event. The Phoenix Lights have been featured in several movies, often serving as a jumping-off point for stories about alien invasions, government cover-ups, the search for extraterrestrial life.
And while those fictional accounts often took creative liberties, they introduced the Phoenix Lights to new audiences, solidifying their place in our, cultural mythology. They've also shaped our perception of what UFOs might look like and how we might react to contact.
It's fascinating to see how the Phoenix Lights, whether depicted, factually or fictionally, have permeated our culture. And it raises an important question. What is it about this particular event that continues to resonate with us after all these years? Why do you think the Phoenix Lights have had such a lasting impact?
I think it's a combination of factors. First, there's the sheer scale and drama of the event itself, Thousands of people witnessing something unexplainable, something that defied conventional explanation. It's a very powerful image.
Right. And there's that lingering mystery.
Yeah.
The fact that even after all this time, the Phoenix Lights remain officially unidentified.
Right.
That lack of closure, that persistent unknown keeps us captivated, keeps us searching for answers.
Absolutely. And on a deeper level, I think the Phoenix Lights tap into a very fundamental human need to explore.
Yeah.
To understand our place in the universe. They remind us that there's still so much we don't know, so much that's out there, beyond our grasp.
It's a humbling thought, isn't it? Makes you realize that despite all of our advancements, we're still just scratching the surface of what's out there.
Precisely. And that sense of wonder, that thirst for knowledge is what keeps us looking up at the stars, questioning, exploring, searching for answers to the universe's greatest mysteries.
Well said. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Phoenix Lights, I have to ask you, what do you think happened that night in Arizona? Was it a secret military project? An atmospheric anomaly? Or something else entirely, something we can't even begin to explain?
Ah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And honestly, we may never know for sure, but I think that's part of what makes this event so compelling. It forces us to confront the limits of our understanding, to acknowledge that there are things in this universe that may forever remain beyond our grasp.
It's a reminder that even in our age of scientific advancement, there's still room for mystery, for wonder, for the possibility that something truly extraordinary might be out there. Well, thank you so much for guiding us through this incredible exploration of the Phoenix Lights.
My pleasure.
And to all our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into one of history's most baffling UFO events. If you enjoyed the episode, please like, subscribe, and comment. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive, where we'll continue to explore the fascinating mysteries of our world and beyond.